There was a moment in my life when everything changed, not because the world shifted, but because I did. I used to look at life as something happening to me. Circumstances felt random. People felt unpredictable. Outcomes felt uncertain. And deep down I believed that if I could just try harder, push more, or wait long enough, things would eventually turn in my favor. But they didn't. Not consistently. Not in a way that felt like power. And then, something inside me whispered a truth I had never fully accepted before. What if nothing is random? What if everything I experience is coming from me? At first it felt almost unbelievable, like some kind of fantasy. But the more I sat with it, the more I began to notice patterns. Subtle ones at first. Every time I felt anxious, something in my outer world would reflect that tension. Every time I assumed something would go wrong, it did. And every time I dared, just for a moment, to feel as though something beautiful was already mine, life responded in kind. That's when it hit me. This isn't coincidence. This is creation. And suddenly manifestation didn't feel like some distant concept anymore. It felt like magic, not the kind of magic you see in movies. No wands, no spells, but something far more powerful. The kind of magic that operates silently, constantly, through me. I began to understand that my imagination wasn't just daydreaming. It was creating. Every thought I entertained, every feeling I accepted as true, every assumption I held on to, they weren't harmless. They were instructions. And reality was listening. That realization changed everything. Because if my inner world was shaping my outer experience, then I wasn't powerless anymore. I was the source. And like any magician discovering their ability for the first time, I had a choice. Keep creating unconsciously, or begin creating deliberately. At first, I won't lie, it felt almost too simple. I thought, if this is really how it works, then why isn't everyone doing it? But the truth became clear very quickly. Most people are doing it. They're just doing it unconsciously. They're imagining outcomes they fear. They're feeling emotions tied to lack. They're assuming limitations and calling it reality. And because they don't realize they're the ones casting the spell, they believe life is just happening to them. I used to live that way too. But once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So I began to experiment. I started small. I would close my eyes and imagine something simple, something I could easily believe, a pleasant interaction, a compliment, a smooth, easy day. But here's what I changed. I didn't just think about it, I felt it. I stepped into the version of me who had already experienced it. I asked myself, if this were already true, how would I feel right now? And then I allowed that feeling to take over. At first it felt like pretending, but then something strange started happening. Those imagined moments began appearing in my real life. Not always instantly, not always exactly how I pictured them, but consistently enough that I couldn't ignore it. That's when I realized something powerful. Imagination is not separate from reality. It is the blueprint of reality, and the feeling I accept as real within me is the force that brings it to life. This is the magic. It doesn't require effort the way the world teaches effort. It doesn't demand struggle or force. It asks for something much simpler, yet much deeper. Faith in what I cannot yet see. Trust in what I am choosing to feel. Consistency in the story I tell myself about who I am and what is mine. Because the moment I accept something as true internally, the world begins rearranging to reflect it. Not because I forced it, but because I allowed it. Now I move through life differently. Not because everything is perfect all the time, but because I know where my power is. It's not in controlling every external detail. It's not in trying to manipulate outcomes. It's in mastering my inner state. Because that's where the magic lives. When something in my outer world doesn't match what I desire, I no longer panic. I no longer react the way I used to. Instead, I pause, and I ask myself, what am I accepting as true right now? And if it's not aligned with the life I want, I change it. Not by force, but by imagination. I return to the version of me who already has it. I feel it. I embody it. I become it. Because I understand now that reality is not fixed. It's fluid. It responds to me. And the more I stay faithful to the feeling of my wish fulfilled, the more effortlessly it appears in my world. That's the real secret. Not wishing harder, not chasing more, not waiting for the right time, but knowing, deeply, calmly, and completely, that what I imagine and accept as real must become my experience. That's not hope, that's law. And once I accepted that, I stopped seeing manifestation as something I was trying to learn. I started seeing it as something I had always been doing. Now I simply do it consciously, deliberately, powerfully, because I am not separate from the magic. I am the source of it. I am the one who imagines. I am the one who feels. I am the one who assumes. And therefore, I am the one who creates.